Before you continue watching this story, imagine working alone in a building with 40 empty floors. Your only job is to walk through the halls every hour and make sure everything is quiet. Simple, right? But on the first night of his job, a security guard was given one rule that made no sense. The manager looked him directly in the eyes and said, "You can patrol every floor in this building, except the 13th floor after 2 a.m. At first, he thought it was a joke. Until one night, the alarm from the 13th floor started ringing. And when he checked the security camera, he saw someone standing in the hallway. But according to the building records, the 13th floor was sealed 20 years ago. Daniel had just started his new job as a night security guard in a massive office building downtown. The building was old, 40 floors tall. Most of the companies had moved out years ago. At night, the place felt like a concrete graveyard. His shift started at 11 p.m. When he arrived, the day manager handed him a keycard and a radio. "Your job is simple," the manager said. "Walk through each floor every hour and check the cameras." Daniel nodded. Easy money. But before the manager left, he paused. Then he said something strange. "Whatever you do, never go to the 13th floor after 2 a.m. Daniel frowned. "Why?" The manager hesitated. Then he simply said, "Just follow the rule." Daniel laughed it off. Every old building had some weird story. Around midnight, he started his patrol. The building was quiet. Too quiet. Fluorescent lights flickered in long empty hallways. Every step echoed against the walls. By 1:45 a.m., Daniel had checked every floor. Everything was normal. Then suddenly, beep! An alarm rang in the security room. Daniel looked at the monitor. The system showed a warning. Motion detected, floor 13. Daniel froze. That floor had been empty for decades. And according to the manager, he was never supposed to go there after 2 a.m. Daniel looked at the clock. 1:59 a.m. Then the alarm rang again. This time louder. And on the camera, he saw something that made his chest tighten. A person. Standing in the middle of the hallway. Not moving. Just standing there. Watching the camera. Then the figure slowly began walking toward the camera. Daniel leaned closer to the screen. The hallway on the 13th floor looked darker than the others. The lights flickered. The figure walking toward the camera moved slowly. Too slowly. Like its joints weren't moving correctly. Daniel grabbed the radio. "Hello? Anyone in the building?" Static answered. He checked the building logs. No employees. No cleaners. No one was supposed to be there. Then the camera suddenly glitched. The screen filled with static. When the picture returned, the hallway was empty. The figure was gone. Daniel swallowed hard. Maybe someone had broken in. Maybe the manager's rule was just superstition. He looked at the clock. 2:03 a.m. He was already past the time he was warned about. But the alarm was still active. If something was wrong on that floor, it was his job to check. Daniel grabbed his flashlight and stepped into the elevator. As the elevator doors closed, the security monitor behind him flickered again. And the camera on the 13th floor turned on by itself, showing the hallway. But this time, the figure was standing right in front of the elevator doors. Waiting. The elevator began rising toward the 13th floor. The elevator moved slowly upward. Floor 10. Floor 11. Floor 12. Daniel felt a strange pressure in his chest. Like the air was getting heavier. Then the elevator stopped. Ding! Floor 13. The doors slid open. The hallway was dark. Only one flickering light illuminated the corridor. Dust covered everything. As if no one had walked there in years. Daniel stepped out slowly. His flashlight beam moved across broken office doors. Old furniture. Peeling wallpaper. Then he heard something. Footsteps. Somewhere deeper in the hallway. But when he pointed his light there, nothing was there. The air felt cold. Too cold. Then suddenly, his flashlight flickered. And for one split second, he saw something on the ceiling. A shape. Something long and thin. Crawling across the ceiling like a spider. Daniel's heart stopped. When he shined the light again, the ceiling was empty. Then behind him, the elevator doors slammed shut. And the sound of footsteps began walking toward him, from the darkness. Daniel's flashlight flickered once, twice, then went completely dark. The hallway was swallowed by silence. For a moment, he couldn't see anything. Not the walls. Not the doors. Not even his own hands. Only darkness. Then he heard it again. Scratch. Something moved above him. Daniel slowly raised his head. The ceiling was barely visible in the faint emergency light glowing from the end of the hallway. And that's when he saw it. Something was crawling across the ceiling. Its body moved like a spider, but it was far too large to be any animal. Long arms. Longer legs. Its joints bent in impossible directions. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. The creature stopped moving. For a second, the hallway was completely still. Then the thing slowly turned its head. And looked directly at him. Two pale eyes reflected the faint red emergency light. Daniel stumbled backward. His back hit the cold wall behind him. What are you?" he whispered. The creature tilted its head sideways. The movement was slow. Deliberate. Almost curious. Then suddenly, it dropped. Its long body slammed onto the floor with a sickening thud. Daniel jumped back in terror. Now he could see it clearly. The creature stood upright. But its body was wrong. Too tall. Its arms hung almost to the ground. Its neck twisted at an unnatural angle. And its face looked almost human. Almost. Its mouth slowly stretched into a grin. A grin far too wide. Then it spoke. But the voice didn't sound like it came from a single throat. It sounded like many voices whispering together. It sounded like many voices whispering together. "Why did you come here?" Daniel's chest tightened. I work here," he stammered. The creature took a step forward. Its joints cracked loudly. "You were told not to come." Daniel's mind raced. The manager's warning echoed in his head. Never check the 13th floor after 2 a.m. The creature tilted its head again. "You broke the rule." Then the lights flickered. For a split second, the hallway went completely black. And when the lights turned back on, the creature was closer. Much closer. So close Daniel could see the details of its face. The skin looked stretched. As if it had once belonged to someone else. And its eyes were completely empty. The creature whispered again. "Now, you must stay." Daniel's heart pounded violently. "Stay? What do you mean?" he asked. The creature slowly lifted one long arm. And pointed behind him. Daniel turned around slowly. At the end of the hallway, The elevator doors were closing. And the button panel beside them suddenly went dark. No lights. No power. No way down. When Daniel turned back, the creature was no longer standing in front of him. The hallway was empty. For a moment, Daniel thought it had disappeared. Then he felt something warm breathing near his ear. And a whisper came from directly behind him. You shouldn't have looked at the cameras. Daniel slowly turned his head and realized the creature was now standing right behind him. Daniel froze. The warm breath behind his ear slowly faded. For a moment, he couldn't move. His heart pounded so loudly it echoed in his head. Slowly, very slowly, he turned around. The hallway behind him was empty. The creature was gone. Daniel stared into the darkness, his chest rising and falling rapidly. "Hello?" he whispered. No answer. Only silence. Then suddenly, clang! A metal door slammed somewhere down the corridor. Daniel jumped. The sound echoed through the abandoned floor like thunder. His survival instinct finally kicked in. He had to get out. Now. Daniel ran toward the elevator. His footsteps echoed loudly against the dusty floor. The emergency lights flickered above him as he sprinted. Behind him, something started moving again. Fast. Very fast. He didn't dare look back. The sound of claws scraping against the ceiling chased him through the hallway. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The creature was following him. Daniel reached the elevator and slammed the button repeatedly. "Come on, come on," he whispered desperately. The hallway behind him went silent. Too silent. Then the emergency lights flickered one last time. And in the reflection of the elevator doors, Daniel saw something horrifying. The creature was standing directly behind him. Its head twisted sideways. Its long arms stretched toward the ceiling. And its mouth opened slowly. Wider. And wider. Then the elevator doors suddenly opened. Daniel jumped inside and smashed the lobby button. The doors began closing. Just before they shut completely, one long, pale hand slid between them. The doors struggled for a moment. Then, crush. The elevator forced the hand out and closed. The creature's shriek echoed through the shaft as the elevator descended. Daniel collapsed to the floor. Sweating. Shaking. The elevator continued going down. Floor 10. Floor 8. Floor 5. Finally. Ding. The doors opened to the lobby. Morning light filled the room through the glass entrance. The building manager stood at the front desk. He looked confused when he saw Daniel. "Hey, you look terrible," the manager said. Daniel staggered out of the elevator. "You didn't tell me what was on the 13th floor," Daniel said weakly. The manager's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" "The thing up there," Daniel said. "The creature in the hallway." The manager slowly walked toward the elevator panel. Then he looked at the buttons. And his expression turned into pure fear. Because something was wrong. Very wrong. There was no button for the 13th floor. Daniel stared at the panel. "But I just came from there," he said. The manager shook his head slowly. "That's impossible." He swallowed. That floor was sealed off 20 years ago, after the accident. Daniel felt his stomach drop. "What accident?" The manager hesitated. Then he whispered. "The night guard who worked here disappeared." Daniel's blood ran cold. Because at that exact moment, the security monitors behind the desk flickered on. One of the cameras activated. The screen showed a dark hallway. Dusty. Abandoned. Floor 13. And standing in the middle of the hallway was a tall figure with twisted limbs. The creature slowly turned toward the camera. And next to it stood another shadow. A human shape. Still watching the camera. The manager leaned closer to the screen. Then his voice trembled. Because the shadow beside the creature looked exactly like Daniel.